Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome to the sacred journey of Kal Mantra, Embrace Divine Grace. Let the celestial vibrations uplift your spirit and guide you toward inner peace, abundance, and divine blessings. Open your heart, chant with devotion, and awaken the infinite grace within you.
Have you ever felt, that there's more to your energy than just, the physical sensations and the mental chatter we're all so familiar with? What if there was maybe a fourth energy, a kind of primal force coiled deep within you? Something so powerful it could potentially transform your entire being, maybe unlock capabilities you never even imagined. It's a question that's really resonated through, millennia. A profound mystery, whispered about in ancient texts and pondered by seekers across so many cultures. Today, we're embarking on a truly deep dive into some of the most, mystical and often misunderstood dimensions of spirituality. We're talking Kundalini, Chakras, the subtle energy body, and that protective shield people call the aura. We've distilled insights from really authentic teachings and expert sources, and our mission today is to try and cut through the noise, cut through the misconceptions and frankly the faulty understandings that often cloud these topics. We really aim to provide you with clear, accurate, and hopefully genuinely transformative knowledge. And guiding us through this pretty intricate landscape, I'm joined by a truly revered teacher, someone who really embodies the authentic wisdom of these ancient practices. Their deep knowledge offers such a rare clarity on topics that are, let's be honest, often abused and exploited, usually due to a lack of genuine understanding. So we're incredibly fortunate to have them here to unpack this fascinating world with us. So if you're curious about the deeper mechanics of your own being, or maybe if you're looking for those aha moments that connect ancient wisdom to your modern life, this deep dive is definitely for you. We're here to try and make these complex concepts understandable, relevant, and hopefully ignite your curiosity without, overwhelming you. So let's delve into this fascinating world and uncover what it truly means for you. Okay, let's unpack this first one then. Kundalini. What exactly is Kundalini, and why is it considered so, profoundly special in the realm of energy? It's a term that sparks so much curiosity, right, but also a fair bit of mystique. What really defines it in the world of our inner energy?
That's a great starting point. And a crucial point to grasp right away is that Kundalini is described as the fourth energy. And truly, it's considered the most special one. It stands distinct from three other energies present in us, and actually even in many other life forms. First, we have what we sometimes call gross energy. That's the plasma, the blood, the nutrients sustaining our physical body. Pretty straightforward. Then there's pranic energy. That's the vital force of breath itself, essential for life. We all experience that. And thirdly, there's psychic or mental energy. This manifests as our impulses, our thoughts, our emotions. Now, these first three energies are, you could say, fairly universal. You find them in varying degrees, even in trees or certain sacred spaces. But Kundalini, that's unique to human beings. It's traditionally depicted as a small, red, tiny snake, not a fully grown cobra, importantly coiled 3.5 times. This imagery is deeply symbolic. The three coils represent things like the three states of consciousness, our three bodies, gross, subtle, causal, and also the three gunas, the fundamental qualities of nature.
And the half. What's the half turn about?
The half. That symbolizes the spiritual effort, the conscious endeavor required to transcend these limitations and actually awaken the energy. And yogis who have undergone Kundalini Sadhana, the spiritual practice, they speak of perceiving something quite specific. A smoky-colored, shivering Shivlingam, which is a symbolic, energetic representation of divine creative consciousness perceived on a yellow square right at the Muladhara chakra within their energy body.
A smoky shivering. Wow. That's not just a vague feeling, then it's a distinct perception.
Exactly. It's a very specific, almost tangible observation within the subtle realms. It highlights its profound reality for dedicated practitioners.
That is incredibly vivid imagery. And the location you mentioned, Muladhara chakra, it sounds very specific too, not just a general energy floating around. It's something very precisely situated and observed.
Precisely. It's specifically located and, importantly, constantly generated at the Muladhara chakra. This sits right at the very base of the spinal cord. For men, this corresponds anatomically to the perineum. For women, it's at the cervix. And the Muladhara is also intrinsically associated with the earth element. Its symbolic color is yellow, which explains why that yellow square is perceived there by yogis.
Ah, okay, so that connects the color perception too.
Yes. This root chakra is the very crucible where Kundalini is generated, basically waiting coiled, ready to be awakened.
Okay, so if it's generated there, right at the base, and it's unique to us humans, what does this all truly mean for us? How does Kundalini set us apart from, say, other species, especially if you said even animals have some form of these energy systems?
Right, this brings us to a really crucial understanding of what truly differentiates human beings. The key insight, according to these teachings, is that Kundalini is the factor that sets humans apart. Yes, even animals possess chakras, these energy centers, but their highest active chakra is typically Muladhara, the very base one. In humans, however, Muladhara is the lowest chakra, and it serves as the generation point of this unique Kundalini energy. Now, here's the critical part. Without conscious endeavor, without specific spiritual practice, this powerful energy, once generated, simply flows downwards.
Downwards, with gravity.
Exactly, downwards with gravity, dissipating outwards. It isn't naturally channeled upwards to the higher centers of consciousness. This implies that a significant portion of our inherent human potential often just remains dormant, completely untapped.
That's a profound distinction.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like many people might be living without ever tapping into this unique human potential, maybe without even realizing it exists. They could be going through life sort of missing a fundamental part of what it means to be fully human, energetically speaking.
Precisely. And the ancient scriptures actually talk about this. They describe 3 fundamental states of human existence, or bhavas. The first is Pashubhava. This describes the animalistic state.
Animalistic? How so?
It's where an individual primarily just eats, sleeps, procreates, and dies. Their life revolves around fundamental survival instincts, basic needs, maybe superficial gratification. And indeed, when you observe the world, it does seem like many people live this way without realizing it. Just going through the motions, their lives driven by impulse and external conditions, not much inner direction.
Wow, that first one, Pashubhava. It really does sound like, well, like a default mode for many, perhaps.
It can be.
Yeah.
However, if a person begins to question this existence, if they start asking themselves, wait, am I merely an animal? If not, then what am I? That very question marks a significant shift. It elevates them potentially to Virabhava. This is the warrior state.
The warrior state, like fighting.
Not necessarily physical fighting. It initiates a conscious quest for who am I? A profound search for deeper meaning and purpose. This isn't just intellectual curiosity. It's about actively seeking truth, battling ignorance within oneself. And if you persistently pursue that Virabhava, that spiritual quest, the scriptures say it naturally leads you towards the Divyabhava. This is the divine state.
The divine state.
Yes, the highest state of human existence. It's achieved by transcending suffering and limitations, leading ultimately to an experience of Satchidananda.
Satchidananda, I've heard that term. What does it translate to, roughly?
It translates to something like unchanging existence, Sat, infinite knowledge or consciousness, Chit, and perpetual bliss, Ananda. And Kundalini Awakening is deeply connected to this journey. It's the force that channels energy upwards, actively moving us away from Pashubhava and towards this potential Divyabhava.
It's truly remarkable how that internal questioning, that shift to Virabhava, can literally shift one's entire state of being. And this idea you mentioned, moving from gross to subtle, it sounds almost like an undoing of something, a kind of reversal. Could you elaborate on that concept, this involution?
Yes, that's a great way to put it. This perspective really redefines our understanding of creation and our path back to the subtle. Spirituality, in this context, isn't about adding something new or acquiring more things. It's about involution.
Involution,
Yeah.
like the opposite of evolution.
Exactly. It's a journey from the gross back to the subtle. Think of it like tracing your steps back to the source, or maybe unwinding a meticulously woven thread back to its original spool. It's literally reversing the process of creation, or evolution itself. Ancient wisdom describes evolution, the process of manifestation, as emanating from subtle to gross. It's said to have begun with pure sound, specifically the sound
The primordial sound.
Consider the primordial vibration, yes. The origin of all manifest sound, and indeed all manifestation. From this pure sound, airing began to emanate. First, forming the ether element, Akasha, which is very subtle and pervasive. Ether then gradually, let's say, condensed or solidified, becoming air by you, introducing the second element, the principle of movement. That solidified further to become fire, Agni. The third element, the principle of transformation and light. Then it condensed into water, Apas. The fourth element, the principle of cohesion. And finally, that solidified further to become earth, Prithvi. Earth is considered unique because it contains aspects of all 5 elements in their densest form.
So Earth is the most gross manifestation.
Exactly, the densest, most material manifestation of creation. Spirituality, then, is this arduous but ultimately liberating journey of transcending these 5 elements, moving consciously from the dense earth back through water, fire, air, and ether, and finally back to the original source, beyond all matter and form.
So we are literally trying to transcend our material existence, in a way.
That's precisely the idea. Unwinding creation within ourselves to return to the unmanifest source.
Okay, so if we're talking about energy, this powerful Kundalini energy and its upward flow, we absolutely have to talk about the channels, right? The pathways through which this energy moves. So let's talk about the flow. We often hear about nadis. How do they work? And what's their critical role in this whole journey of Kundalini?
Absolutely. To understand the flow of these subtle energies, we need to understand the nadis. They're essentially our energetic pathways or channels. Think of them like the wiring system for our subtle energy. While traditional texts mention thousands, there are 3 main nadis that are absolutely central to this discussion: Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Ida nadi is intimately connected to our subtle body, composed of 17 subtle elements, according to some texts. It governs our lunar, feminine, cooling, and mental energies. It flows primarily on the left side of the body. Pingala nadi is associated more with the gross body, the 5 physical elements. It governs our solar, masculine, heating, and active energies, flowing mainly on the right side.
Left and right, like 2 streams.
Exactly. And they flow in a vibrant zigzag pattern, often depicted like twin snakes, crisscrossing at various points along the spine. Ida typically starts from the left side of the Muladhara, Pingala from the right, and they intertwine upwards. Now, what's absolutely crucial to understand for Kundalini's journey is this. Finer energies, including Kundalini itself, can only flow through the Sushumna nadi.
Only Sushumna, not Ida or Pingala.
Correct. They simply cannot flow through Ida or Pingala. Sushumna is the central, most subtle channel. It runs directly through the core of the spinal column, energetically speaking. And here's the key. Sushumna only becomes active, or opens, when there is a precise balance between the activity of Ida and Pingala. In an ordinary person, the dominance of breath, and thus the activity of these nadis, typically switches from one nostril to the other, roughly every 40 minutes or so, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter.
You can actually feel that, can't you? Which nostril is more open?
Yes, absolutely. You can easily detect this by gently checking which nostril feels more open and dominant for breathing at any given moment.
So, if the breath feels balanced, like it's flowing pretty equally through both nostrils, is that a direct indicator that Sushumna might be active? That sounds like a very practical way to check.
Exactly. When there's an equal, balanced flow of breath through both nostrils, it signifies a perfect equilibrium between the energies of Ida and Pingala. This balance is the prerequisite. It's like the golden key needed for Sushumna to become active, potentially allowing Kundalini energy to begin its upward flow. Now, experienced yogis, through dedicated and disciplined practice, like certain pranayama techniques, can actually learn to control this balance by will.
Control it.
Yes, they can consciously activate Pingala, the right nostril flow, perhaps for tasks requiring more physical energy or a masculine-aligned approach. Or they can activate Ida, the left nostril flow, for activities needing more emotional sensitivity, mental focus, or creative intuition. It represents a remarkable level of self-mastery over one's own energy system.
Now, here's where it gets really fascinating for many people. Chakras. It's a concept many have heard of, maybe seen diagrams of, but perhaps misunderstood. Most people seem to imagine them as these colorful spinning wheels on the front of the body. Is that just like a pop culture simplification, or is there a deeper truth? And maybe more importantly, what's a common misconception about them?
You've definitely hit on a significant misconception right there. The popular perception of chakras often misses their true essence and location. Chakras are not primarily located on the front of the body. Those points on the front are generally considered trigger points, or areas where the energetic effects of the chakras are felt or manifest.
Ah, okay. So they're felt on the front, but not located there.
Precisely. Fundamentally, the chakras themselves are psychic points, energetic junctions, located along the spine, specifically within the Sushumna nadi. They occur where the Ida and Pingala nadis intersect as they weave their way up. You can think of them like vital switches or transformers that control various aspects of our life, influencing our physical health, our emotions, our psychological tendencies, and our level of consciousness. For instance, if you want to locate your Manipura chakra energetically, you wouldn't focus on your navel itself on the front. You'd direct your awareness directly behind the navel, on the spine.
Okay, that makes sense. Like Anahata behind the heart, Vishuddhi behind the throat.
Exactly. Anahata is behind the heart center on the spine. Vishuddhi is on the spine level with the throat pit. And each chakra is deeply correlated with specific elements, with particular organs of action, karmendriyas, senses of knowledge, gnanendriyas, and even tanmatras, which are the subtle sensory qualities or potentials. The key insight here is that your chakras are far more than just vague energy centers. They are direct windows into how your physical experiences, your senses, your actions, and even subtle qualities like smell or taste are profoundly interconnected with your subtle energy system. Let's maybe touch on a few examples.
Please do, yeah. That connection makes it much more tangible.
Okay, let's start at the bottom. Muladhara, the root chakra, intrinsically linked to the earth element, as we mentioned. Its sense of knowledge is the nose, and its tanmatra is smell, gandha.
Smell.
Yes, and we saw a very direct, almost global example of its disturbance during the recent pandemic, didn't we? Where many people temporarily lost their sense of smell. From a yogic perspective, that indicated profound impact on this root energy center for many. A healthy, balanced Muladhara can profoundly sharpen your sense of smell and ground your entire being. Its organ of action is the anus, related to elimination. Moving up. Swadhisthana, the sacral chakra, linked to the water element. Its organ of action is the genitals, related to procreation and creativity, located on the sacrum bone, parallel to the kidneys energetically. Manipura, the solar plexus chakra, governed by the powerful fire element. Its sense of knowledge is the eyes, and its organ of action is the feet.
The feet, how does that connect?
Think about movement, propulsion, taking action in the world. People who are exceptional dancers, for example, often have a very active and balanced Manipura chakra. They channel that dynamic fire energy through their precise movements and also often have a powerful gaze. It's the seat of transformation, willpower, and digestion, both physical and mental.
Yeah.
The Anahata, the heart chakra, connected to the expansive air element. Its sense of knowledge is the skin, touch, and its organ of action is the hands.
The hands, giving and receiving.
Exactly. We often say generous people have a good heart, right? In spiritual terms, their anahata is likely open and active, reflecting that open, giving nature expressed through their hands and actions. This chakra is all about connection, compassion, love, and balance. Vishuddhi, the throat chakra, associated with the ether or space element. Its organ of action is the mouth-speech apparatus, located in the spine at the throat level, governs communication and expression. And finally, higher up, Ajna, the third eye chakra. This represents the mind itself, the seat of intuition, insight, and perception beyond the ordinary senses. It's also known as the seat of Shiva in some traditions, and is related to the short, subtle sound of
That's a much clearer picture, thank you. Especially that connection to specific senses and actions, it really makes the abstract feel very real and relevant. This leads us to a crucial understanding, especially regarding Ajna. How does this third eye relate to our perception and maybe going beyond ordinary perception? It seems like a really pivotal point in this whole system.
Absolutely pivotal. The Ajna chakra, often called Bhrumadhya in yoga and tantra, which literally means the middle of the eyebrows or forehead area, is located energetically in the middle of the head, roughly level with the eyebrows, at the upper end of the spine within the sushumna. It's truly pivotal because the connection from Ajna up to Sahasrara, the crown chakra at the very top of the head, is considered purely psychic or mental. It's not described as a physical nadi in the same way as Ida, Pingala, or even Sushumna below it.
So it's a bridge of consciousness.
Precisely. It acts as a direct bridge to higher consciousness, intuition, non-physical perception, and command over the mind. Now, chakras are also symbolically depicted as lotus flowers. The lotus signifies detachment, purity rising above the mud. And each chakra has a specific number of petals. Muladhara has 4, Swadhisthana 6, Manipura 10, Anahata 12, Vishuddhi 16, and Ajna just 2.
Fewer petals higher up.
Yes. These petals are said to represent the key nadi systems or sub-chakras, like energetic tributaries, that converge at that specific psychic point or junction. So the Ajna chakra, with its 2 petals and its direct mental connection upwards, becomes this crucial gateway for enhanced perception, intuition, insight, and potentially even telepathy once awakened. It connects us to a broader reality beyond the 5 senses.
Okay, moving outwards slightly, many people are fascinated by the aura. We hear about it in spiritual circles, sometimes in pop culture too, often in rather vague terms. What is the aura, really, from this energetic perspective, and how does it connect to our overall well-being and these chakras and nadis we're discussing?
The aura is essentially our energetic immunity, our personal electromagnetic field, you could say. It's a luminous energy field that surrounds our physical body. Its primary functions are to retain our vital energy within, preventing leakage, and to act as a protective shield from various outside influences.
Influences like what?
That could be anything from environmental factors like bacteria or pollutants to negative psychic energies, or even just the energetic noise from other people or stressful environments. Crucially, the aura directly reflects the energy flow pattern within the body. Is that pattern rhythmic, harmonious, and coherent? That indicates inner peace and balance. Or is it chaotic, fragmented, maybe dull? That signals imbalance, stress, or internal conflict. And a critical insight here is the direct correlation between the excessive use of what we often call the lower mind and the distortion of the aura.
The lower mind, you mean like everyday thinking?
More like the reactive, impulsive, constantly chattering monkey mind. That part of the mind that jumps restlessly from one thought to the next, driven by external stimuli, worry, or base desires. The more we operate primarily from this lower agitated mental space, the more our aura tends to get fragmented, distorted, almost like static on an old television screen. This fragmentation leads to confusion, a lack of clarity, vulnerability to external negativity, and difficulty concentrating. In stark contrast, individuals who are often successful, clear-minded, or spiritually developed tend to operate more from higher mental levels, utilizing buddhi, higher intellect, discrimination, viveka, wisdom, discerning truth from untruth, and eventually pragya, direct knowing, soul consciousness. Operating from these higher faculties naturally fosters a clear, strong, vibrant, and coherent aura.
So it's not just humans who possess an aura then. If it's an energy field, does that suggest a much broader energetic landscape exists?
No, not just humans at all. This is where ancient wisdom is truly fascinating. Animals, trees, sacred temples, even natural formations like mountains or flowing rivers also possess auras or distinct energetic fields. Our ancestors were incredibly wise about this. They deeply understood the healing and purifying qualities of these natural and sacred auras. Think about traditions like circumambulation, walking around holy places like the sacred Pushkar Lake in India, or ancient temples worldwide.
Right, you see people doing that.
That practice wasn't just blind ritual. It was often a conscious, energetic interaction. A way for people to literally bathe in, absorb, and purify themselves with the powerful, positive, coherent aura of these locations, thereby enhancing their own energetic field and well-being. The colors observed in the human aura also provide profound insights into one's inner state of being. Though seeing auras accurately requires developed subtle perception, the traditional understanding is quite specific. Tamasic auras, typical of people operating from negativity, inertia, ignorance, unregulated lives, or very gross thinking, often appear as murky brown, dull burgundy, grayish, or even patches of black. These indicate a fragmented, imbalanced, dense, and unhealthy energetic state.
Okay, so duller, darker colors.
Generally, yes. Then you have Rajasic auras found in highly ambitious, passionate, driven, sometimes egoistic individuals are often seen as vibrant reds, bright oranges, sometimes bright greens, or intense violet crimson hues. While indicating powerful energy, they reflect a state that's active, perhaps turbulent, driven by desire and attachment.
More fiery, active colors.
Exactly. And finally, Sattvic auras, indicative of peaceful, balanced, compassionate individuals engaged in genuine spiritual growth and self-awareness, are typically described as clear white, a very soothing golden yellow, light blues, or delicate purplish or pinkish hues. Babies, for example, are often said to be born with very clear, pure, almost divine auras, reflecting their relatively unpainted state of consciousness.
Yeah.
Now, when a person is deeply fragmented, emotionally disturbed, or energetically imbalanced, their aura can actually develop what are sometimes described as cracks or holes. These can appear quite disturbing energetically, signifying severe disruption and vulnerability. However, there's a profoundly simple yet powerful and immediate technique available to everyone to help restore and purify their aura. If we connect this to the bigger picture of just daily energetic maintenance and self-care, this simple practice can significantly help restore your aura, often providing a sense of enhanced protection and confidence.
That sounds incredibly practical, something anyone could potentially do, maybe daily. What is this technique? How do we do it?
It's the chanting of Om, the sound Omkara, done clearly and audibly, traditionally 9 times. The sacred sound Om is considered the primordial sound, the source vibration. When you chant it consciously, bringing your lips closer together as you transition through the O sound, and then sealing them gently for the resonant M sound at the end, it creates a powerful vibration throughout your being. This vibration acts like a sonic energetic balm. It helps to smooth out distortions, fill in those cracks, and restore coherence to your aura. It's like building or reinforcing an energetic shield around you.
9 times out loud.
Yes, 9 times audibly. It can provide immediate protection, help clear mental fog, and boost your inner confidence for the day ahead. Even if you feel you don't have time for a longer spiritual practice, this brief, potent ritual can be profoundly beneficial for your energetic well-being and resilience.
Okay, fantastic. So, given all this profound understanding now of Kundalini, the nadis, the chakras, the aura, what are the actual techniques one might use to consciously awaken Kundalini, to embark on this journey towards higher consciousness? It sounds like there's a very precise methodology involved, not just a casual exploration or something you stumble into.
Indeed, there is a very precise and systematic path described in the traditions, particularly in Tantra and Kundalini Yoga. It's not something to be approached lightly or without guidance. The initial steps are absolutely foundational, as we've touched upon. First, awakening and balancing your nadis, specifically achieving that equilibrium between Ida and Pingala, is crucial to ensure that Sushumna becomes active and clear. Kundalini needs that central channel. Simultaneously, you must develop a deep experiential understanding of the chakras. They are the psychic switches, the energetic gateways that Kundalini will potentially activate, pierce, and energize one by one as it rises. Knowing their location, function, and associated qualities is key. The primary technique for awakening Kundalini itself often begins with specific sadhana, or dedicated spiritual practice, focused intensely on the Muladhara chakra, its root.
Focusing right at the base.
Yes. This involves, metaphorically speaking, playing with the tongue of that coiled red snake, the dormant Kundalini energy. The idea is to gently, yet firmly and persistently, arouse it through techniques involving breath control, pranayama, concentration dharana, specific postures, asana, sound vibrations, mantra, and visualization. The aim is to encourage it to unwind from its 3.5 coils and begin its powerful rush upwards, ascending like a current of lightning through the central channel, the Sushumna, activating each successive chakra along the way.
Gently but firmly. Sounds like a delicate process.
Extremely delicate. It requires immense focus, purity of intention, and often the guidance of a qualified teacher. It's not something to be rushed or undertaken lightly or based on reading a book.
What's truly intriguing, though, is that persistent snake imagery for Kundalini. It's such a powerful, ancient, and sometimes even slightly intimidating symbol. What's the deeper significance behind depicting such a potentially transformative divine energy as a snake? Is it purely a metaphor, or is there something more experiential behind it?
The snake symbolism is incredibly rich, multi-layered, and very intentional. It's deeply rooted in the direct experiences of yogis and mystics over centuries. It's not just an arbitrary metaphor. Firstly, as we mentioned briefly, subtle energy, particularly powerful currents like awakened Kundalini, rarely flows in a perfectly straight line. It naturally tends to zigzag, meander, and spiral upwards, just like a snake moves. So the visual perfectly represents the curvilinear path Kundalini often takes as it ascends the Sushumna.
Okay, the movement pattern. That makes sense.
Secondly, when Kundalini initially awakens and begins to rise, many individuals report a distinct physical or energetic sensation, often described as a creepy feeling or something tingling or vibrating, akin to a snake crawling upwards along the spine.
Like a literal sensation.
Yes, for some people it can be quite literal. I've had students describe it precisely like that, like a tickle, or sometimes quite unmistakably like something slithering or buzzing intensely up their back. It's a very real and commonly reported initial sensory experience. Thirdly, a snake is a powerful creature of profound renewal, isn't it? It periodically sheds its old skin and emerges entirely new, vibrant, seemingly reborn and transformed.
Right, shedding the old.
Similarly, Kundalini energy, when awakened and integrated properly, has the power to utterly renew and transform the individual. It helps shed old patterns, deep-seated karmic imprints, psychological limitations, traumas leading to a fundamentally new state of being, a spiritual rebirth. And lastly, there's the aspect of its power. Kundalini is often described as dicey, much like handling a wild snake. Because it holds immense power, it can have both incredibly positive, liberating effects and potentially profoundly negative, disturbing effects if not handled correctly.
Dicey, how so?
If awakened improperly, prematurely, forcefully, without adequate purification and preparation, or by an unqualified or unethical guide, it can cause severe mental, emotional, and even physical disturbances. Things like intense heat or cold flashes, uncontrolled body movements, sensory hypersensitivity, emotional volatility, hallucinations, or even states resembling psychosis. This makes the preparation for its awakening not just important, but critically vital for safety and positive outcomes.
That really raises a crucially important question about personal responsibility in any kind of spiritual practice, especially something this powerful. You mentioned preparation is key, and specifically that one must be sattvic before attempting this. What exactly does that mean in practical terms? What kind of person, what state of being is truly suitable for this incredibly potent work, and who absolutely is not?
This is perhaps the most critical point to emphasize, and is often overlooked in modern, sometimes superficial approaches to these practices. One must ideally be established in a predominantly sattvic state before seriously attempting Kundalini sadhana. Let's break down the gunas, the qualities, to understand why. If you are primarily tamasic, meaning you operate from a place of inertia, ignorance, negativity, maybe harboring thoughts of harming others, lacking discrimination in your diet or lifestyle, eating anything, anytime, living a disoriented and unregulated life and possessing very gross, dull, or clouded thinking, then trying to awaken Kundalini would be disastrous.
Why disaster?
Because the energy would merely stir up and violently amplify all that existing contamination, all that psychic mud. It would lead to inner chaos, potentially destructive impulses, paranoia, and severe mental and emotional disbalance. Imagine vigorously stirring up a stagnant, muddy pond. It only gets cloudier and more putrid. Similarly, people who are predominantly rajasic, meaning highly ambitious, driven, passionate, often competitive and egoistic, perhaps willing to step on others for power, fame, or material gain, are also generally considered unsuitable, or at least need significant purification first.
Even if they're energetic and driven?
Yes, because while they might be higher or more active than the tamasic state, their motivations are still deeply rooted in ego, attachment to results, worldly desires, and often a lack of true compassion or ethical grounding. Kundalini awakened in a primarily rajasic state could lead to a dangerous inflation of ego, a severe misuse of any resulting psychic powers, siddhis, megalomania, or even self-destructive tendencies driven by unchecked ambition and passion. For example, a person craving power might find that desire amplified immensely, but without wisdom or ethical restraint, it could easily lead to their downfall or the significant harm of others. Sattvic people, on the other hand, are those who live with a growing experiential understanding. I am not just this body, not just this mind. They are actively seeking to realize the truth of their essential spiritual nature. They are generally balanced, peaceful, regulated in their lives. They naturally embody qualities like truthfulness, satya, nonviolence, ahimsa, in thought, word, and deed, contentment, santosha, purity, satya. Their drive is towards higher knowledge, self-realization, and often service to others.
So the motivation is key.
Motivation, purity of heart, and a stable, balanced mind and lifestyle. These are the individuals considered suitable for advanced Kundalini practice because their inner purity helps ensure that the awakened energy will be channeled constructively, used for genuine spiritual growth, deeper understanding, and liberation without causing undue harm to themselves or others. It truly highlights that the internal state and the ethical foundation are absolutely paramount. You have to clean the vessel before pouring in such potent energy.
That's a very clear distinction and, frankly, a vital warning for anyone drawn to these powerful practices. So, okay, even assuming someone has done the preparation, achieved a reasonable sattvic state, are there any inherent blockages within the energy system itself that might prevent Kundalini from rising fully? Is it typically a smooth path once awakened in the right person, or are there further obstacles built into the system?
That's an excellent question. Yes, even with the right internal state and proper awakening, there are traditionally understood to be major energetic blockages or knots, known as granthas, along the Sushumna Nadi. These can significantly impede or completely prevent Kundalini from ascending to its full potential in the higher chakras. There are three primary granthas. The Brahma Granthi. This knot is typically located in the region of the Muladhara and Swadhisthana chakras, near the base of the spine. It's often associated with attachment to the physical body, material possessions, instinctual drives, worldly desires, and the fear of death. It represents our entanglement in the gross physical realm.
Okay, the knot of creation or attachment to the physical.
You could say that. Then higher up, the Vishnu Granthi. This knot is located in the region of the Manipura and Anahata chakras, the solar plexus and heart area. It's connected to emotional attachments, personal ego, the need for power or recognition, strong likes and dislikes, and attachment to individual relationships or status. It represents our entanglement in the emotional and personal ego realms.
The knot of preservation or ego attachment?
Yes. And finally, the highest knot, the Rudra Granthi. This powerful knot is found in the region of the Vishuddhi and Ajna chakras, the throat and third eye area, sometimes extending towards the Bindu point at the back of the head. It's associated with intellectual pride, spiritual ego, feeling superior due to knowledge or experiences, attachment to psychic powers, siddhis, fixed ideas or dogmas, and the final vestiges of the sense of separate self. It represents our entanglement in the mental and subtle ego realms. These granthas are often described almost poetically as nature's way of protecting the sacred power of Kundalini from getting into the wrong hands or being misused. They act like energetic seals or circuit breakers.
Like safety mechanisms.
Exactly. Ensuring that only those who have achieved sufficient purity, detachment, and self-awareness can access the full spectrum of Kundalini's transformative power and the higher states of consciousness associated with the upper chakras. Only when these knots are consciously untied, dissolved, or transcended through dedicated advanced spiritual practice can Kundalini flow freely and unimpeded all the way to the Sahasrara, the crown chakra. The benefits of awakening Kundalini and successfully dissolving these granthas are said to be immense. It leads to the complete removal of ignorance, avidya, the root cause of suffering. It can bestow abilities like perceiving others' thoughts directly, a form of telepathy that is said to be much clearer and less ambiguous than vague intuition, gaining foresight into future events, though attachment to this is discouraged, and even enabling direct, subtle communication with one's guru or spiritual teacher, regardless of physical distance.
Like the ancient rishis.
Precisely. This was perhaps how ancient rishis, sages, were said to be able to see or intuit cosmic distances, universal laws, or profound truths without physical instruments, by perceiving the universe reflected within their own fully awakened consciousness, unimpeded by the granthas.
We often hear about the third eye in various traditions, myths, and stories. You mentioned it's the Ajna chakra. Could you elaborate a bit more on what exactly it is physiologically or energetically speaking, and how does it relate to all this, especially to Ajna and this potential for higher perception, maybe even bypassing some of those lower knots?
Yes, the third eye in common parlance refers specifically to the Ajna chakra. As mentioned in yogic and tantric traditions, it's also called Bru Madhya, meaning the middle of the eyebrows, though its energetic location is more accurately described as being in the center of the head, perhaps aligned with the pineal gland area at the upper terminus of the spine within the sushumna. What's really crucial to understand, as we touched on, is that the energetic channel or connection from Ajna upwards to Sahasrara, the thousand-petaled lotus at the crown, is considered purely psychic or mental. It's not a physical nadi in the same sense as Ida, Pingala, or Sushumna below it.
So it's like a direct link via consciousness itself.
Exactly. It's a bridge of pure consciousness, a gateway to non-ordinary perception, intuition, and direct knowing. Now, for many practitioners, particularly those who might find the task of confronting and dissolving the lower granthas Brahma and Vishnu very challenging or perhaps premature for their stage of development, there are certain techniques and mudras, hand gestures or body postures, that can help to activate and integrate Ajna and Sahasrara more directly.
Like a different approach.
Somewhat. Mudras like Jana Mudra or Chin Mudra, where the tip of the thumb and forefinger are gently joined, often resting on the knees, are commonly used in meditation, precisely because they help to complete an energetic circuit that facilitates inner focus and stimulates Ajna. Another practice is Nasaga Drishti or Nasikagra Drishti, gazing steadily at the tip of the nose, which also strongly draws energy and awareness towards the Ajna region. By focusing intensely on Ajna through various concentration or meditation techniques, one can, in a sense, begin to stimulate the higher centers and potentially circumvent or lessen the grip of the Brahma and Vishnu granthas, allowing the process of higher spiritual awakening to initiate from this elevated point. It's sometimes seen as a more direct, though perhaps still challenging path for certain individuals or lineages. When Ajna is sufficiently awakened and balanced, it enables that direct intuitive communication we talked about. A form of telepathy that's less about mind reading in the sensational sense, and more about a deep, unambiguous understanding or resonance with another state of being. And it facilitates that profound ability to perceive the entire universe, the macrocosm, reflected within the microcosm of oneself.
Because,
as the sages realized, at the deepest level, the level of the soul or pure consciousness, Atman, we are all fundamentally one. The apparent distinctions of physical distance, separate bodies, and individual minds dissolve, revealing an underlying interconnected cosmic consciousness. Ajna is a key portal to experiencing that unity.
that concept of perceiving the universe within is truly mind-expanding. And thinking about different realms beyond our current reality, you mentioned earlier briefly that there are believed to be 7 levels of existence, or lokas. What exactly are these? Are they like different planets or dimensions? And where do we, as humans, fit into this grand cosmic architecture?
It's truly remarkable to consider that our current human existence might not be the only reality, but perhaps one layer within a much vaster, multi-dimensional cosmos. Yes, many ancient texts, particularly in the Hindu tradition, describe 7 primary levels, or lokas, of existence. It's important to clarify right away, though, that these are generally not understood as physical locations in outer space, like different planets or galaxies in the way astronomers conceive them. They are better understood as different planes or dimensions of fineness, different vibratory states, or levels of consciousness.
Levels of consciousness, not physical places.
Primarily, yes. The higher the level or loka, the finer, more subtle, and more expansive the consciousness of the beings who predominantly reside there. And consequently, the fewer the limitations, the less dense the experience of reality compared to lower levels. Let's list them, typically from lowest to highest. Bhuvloka. This is often considered the lowest level, sometimes described as being below the earth plane, associated with very dense experiences, suffering, and beings bound by gross attachments. Bhuvaloka. This is generally considered to be the earth plane, our current physical realm. Humans reside here, at this second level. It's seen as a realm of significant karmic action, learning, and the potential for liberation.
Okay, so we're on level 2.
According to this model, yes. Then ascending, Swaloka. The third level, often associated with the heavenly realm, more pleasant than earth, but still within the realm of subtle forms and potential rebirth, Mahaloka. The fourth level, a higher celestial realm, Janaloka. The fifth level, plane of spiritual sons of Brahma, very advanced souls, Tavaloka. The sixth level, plane of austerity and advanced spiritual beings, Satyamloka. The highest level, also called Brahmaloka. This is where the finest, purest consciousness resides. It's characterized by perpetual bliss, infinite knowledge, freedom from rebirth, and a state of near complete oneness with the ultimate reality. Now, the inhabitants traditionally associated with these levels vary greatly. Lower levels, below Bhuloka even, sometimes called Talas, are traditionally associated with beings often described as asuras or demons, or lower astral entities, beings driven by negativity but potentially possessing significant power within their own limited, dense realms. At levels like Swaloka, we might find beings like Gandharvas, celestial musicians, or Apsaras, celestial dancers, enjoying lighter, more refined, pleasurable yet still temporary, ethereal existences. As you ascend to Maha, Janaha, Tapa, and finally Satyamaloka, various divine beings, deities, devas, and highly advanced sages or gods are said to reside, with different spiritual traditions placing their highest conception of the divine, like Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva, or the ultimate impersonal Brahman at the supreme Satyamloka. Humans, being here at the second level, Bhuvaloka, are considered to be in a unique position. We are, in a sense, condemned to this realm, the world of action, Karmabhumi, primarily to experience the results of past actions, karma, and crucially to have the opportunity to perform new actions that can lead towards liberation, moksha.
So this is the plane of choice and consequence.
Precisely. Our actions, thoughts, intentions, and level of consciousness in this life significantly determine our future experiences, whether in subsequent lives on this plane or potentially in other lokas. Living a life guided by Divyabhava, that divine state characterized by balance, purity, wisdom, compassion, and spiritual aspiration, significantly increases the chances of exhausting negative karma and potentially ascending to higher, more blissful lokas after death, where suffering is minimal or non-existent, there's no dependence on gross food, and a pervasive state of harmony and oneness prevails. It paints a picture of a vast cosmic journey of the soul, moving through different states of consciousness based on its evolution and karmic balance.
This has been a truly deep exploration of our inner universe, the energies, the channels, the centers, the protective fields, even the different planes of existence. So, for someone listening who feels inspired by all this, who wants to embark on this journey, what's a reliable, systematic, maybe time-tested path? We hear a lot about Ashtanga Yoga, but often, as you said, it's presented just as a very vigorous physical practice. Can you clarify what Ashtanga Yoga truly encompasses as a holistic system for this kind of inner work?
Yes, that's a crucial point to clarify right at the outset. There's a common modern misconception where Ashtanga Yoga is often used to refer to a specific brand or style of dynamic athletic yoga practice involving set sequences of postures. And while that style has its merits, it's not what the term originally and fundamentally means. Ashtanga Yoga, as systematically outlined by the great sage Patanjali in his seminal work, the Yoga Sutras, literally means the 8 limbs of yoga. Ashtag equals 8, Anga equals limb. It is a comprehensive, profound, and highly systematic spiritual path designed for self-realization, for achieving union with the ultimate reality. It's far, far more encompassing than just physical exercise. These 8 limbs are progressive steps that work together to purify and refine every aspect of our being: ethical, physical, energetic, mental, and spiritual. The first 2 limbs are absolutely foundational. They set the stage, creating the necessary stability and purity for any deeper spiritual work to be fruitful. These are the yamas and niyamas, yamas. These are universal moral disciplines or ethical restraints. They govern our interactions with the outer world and others. Patanjali lists 5. Ahimsa, nonviolence; satya, truthfulness; asteya, non-stealing; brahmacharya, continence or right use of energy; and aparigraha, non-possessiveness or non-greed. These are essential for cultivating true peace of mind. Why? Because if your actions harm others, involve deceit, or are driven by excessive craving, your mind will inevitably be agitated by guilt, fear, or desire, making inner stillness impossible.
So they calm the outer life to calm the inner mind.
Precisely. And then 2, niyamas. These are personal observances or disciplines complementing the yamas. They focus more on our inner state and relationship with ourselves. Patanjali lists 5 here too: saucha, purity, cleanliness of body and mind; santosha, contentment; tapas, austerity or disciplined effort; svadhyaya, self-study, including study of scriptures; and ishvara pranatana, surrender or devotion to a higher power or the ultimate reality. These foster a harmonious, disciplined inner life.
Let's maybe unpack the yamas just a tiny bit more. How do these moral disciplines contribute specifically to that peace of mind needed for practice? Could you give an example, maybe focusing on ahimsa or brahmacharya, which you touched on earlier?
Certainly. The yamas are profoundly practical tools for inner serenity, not just abstract ethical rules. Let's look at ahimsa, nonviolence. This isn't just about avoiding physical harm. Crucially, it applies to our thoughts and speech as well. If your mind is constantly filled with anger, resentment, judgment, criticism, or ill will towards others, or even habitually directed towards yourself, how can you possibly expect to find inner peace or concentrate deeply?
Right, the mind is just churning with negativity.
Exactly. Practicing ahimsa means consciously cultivating compassion, kindness, and understanding, even when faced with difficulty. This directly reduces mental agitation, frees up vast amounts of psychic energy that was being wasted on negativity, and creates a more harmonious inner environment. Now, brahmacharya, often narrowly translated as celibacy, its deeper meaning is more about non-excess in all things, and particularly the conscious conservation and right use of our vital energy, including but not limited to sexual energy. Our vital life force, ojas or prana, is a finite resource. When it's constantly dissipated through excessive sensory indulgence, uncontrolled desires, or scattered activities, we feel depleted, mentally foggy, and lack the focused energy needed for deeper practices.
So it's about managing our vital energy wisely.
Yes. When this vital energy is conserved and consciously redirected inwards and upwards through practice and disciplined living, it becomes an incredibly powerful fuel for spiritual growth, enhancing concentration, willpower, and potentially aiding in the awakening of Kundalini itself. These yamas are truly foundational. If your mind is perpetually agitated by guilt from lying, lack of satya, anxiety from taking what isn't yours, lack of a sakhe, or restlessness from constant craving, lack of a aparigraha, you simply cannot achieve the inner stillness required for meaningful meditation or subtle energy work. They create the stable, ethical ground upon which all the other limbs can flourish. The third limb, then, is asana. Now, here again, we need to understand its true purpose in Patanjali's system. It's not primarily about achieving gymnastic flexibility or physical fitness, though those can be side benefits. Patanjali defines asana simply as sthira sukhamadasana, a posture that is steady, sthira, and comfortable. Sukha.
Steady and comfortable. That sounds different from a grueling workout.
It is. The goal of asana practice within Ashtanga Yoga is to prepare the body for prolonged periods of seated meditation. It aims to make the physical body strong, flexible, healthy, and free from pain and restlessness, so that it doesn't become a distraction during the deeper internal practices of pranayama and meditation. It's described as physical movement synchronized with breathing and awareness, often with awareness focused either on a specific physical point, the breath itself, or even a particular chakra. If done correctly, with this mindful integration of body, breath, and awareness, asana practice can immediately help shift your awareness from the gross physical body towards the subtler energy body, pranamaya kosha. It makes the body less demanding of attention, more transparent, and prepares it to sit comfortably, allowing the mind to turn inwards, potentially leading to states of ease, release, and sometimes even spontaneous bliss. The purpose is to transform the body into a stable, comfortable, and unobtrusive vessel for the deeper journey within. Following asana comes the fourth limb, pranayama. Zooming out a bit, pranayama is considered incredibly powerful.
It's seen as the bridge taking you from the subtle body, where asana primarily works, towards the even subtler causal body.
Controlling the breath to reach deeper levels.
Exactly. Patanjali Sutras define pranayama primarily in relation to manipulating the breath cycle, specifically emphasizing kumhak, which means holding or retaining the breath, either after inhalation or after exhalation, or sometimes both. The ancient texts constantly highlight the intimate, undeniable link between the state of the mind and the pattern of the breath, the concept of manopran. An agitated, restless mind inevitably leads to agitated, shallow, irregular breathing. Conversely, and this is the power of pranayama, by consciously controlling, slowing down, and regulating the breath, particularly through techniques involving retention, kumpak, you can profoundly calm the fluctuations of the mind. Pranayama practices typically involve conscious inhalation, kumbhaka, retention, kumpaka, exhalation, rechaka, often done in specific ratios and sometimes combined with energy locks, bandhas, and focus points. But the retention aspect, when practiced safely and correctly under guidance, is seen as particularly potent for stilling the mind, energizing the subtle body, and facilitating the withdrawal of consciousness from the outer world, thereby accessing deeper states. This leads directly to the fifth limb, pratyahara, which Patanjali places after pranayama. And this, arguably, is one of the most important limbs, yet perhaps the most challenging, especially for us living in our modern, constantly stimulating, information-saturated world.
Pratyahara. Withdrawal of the senses. That sounds difficult. How does it work? Does it mean blocking everything out?
That brings up a really important question. What does regulating the food of the mind or withdrawing the senses truly mean in a practical sense? It's often misunderstood. It's not about violently suppressing your senses or forcefully trying to block out external sounds, sights, or sensations. That usually just creates more internal conflict and tension. Instead, pratyahara is about cultivating a state of disinterest in the external world, pulling your senses outwards. It's about consciously withdrawing the energy and attention that normally flows outwards through the senses, eyes seeking sights, ears seeking sounds, skin seeking sensations, etc., and redirecting that energy inwards.
So it's more about where your attention goes.
Precisely. It's achieved when the senses cease to automatically latch onto external objects and instead faithfully follow the direction of the mind, which is turned inwards. It's about becoming the master of your senses rather than their slave. It involves consciously choosing what information, experiences, and stimuli you allow into your mind, becoming highly discerning about your mental diet. When pratyahara is genuinely achieved, the external world may still be there, but it no longer distracts or pulls your attention away from your inner focus. The mind gains independence from sensory input. Once pratyahara is reasonably established, the mind naturally becomes much more focused and less scattered. This naturally leads into the sixth limb, dharana, which translates to concentration or single-pointed focus.
So after withdrawing attention, you focus it.
Exactly. Dharana is the ability to hold the mind's attention, to focus that now internalized, flickering, often chaotic mental energy steadily onto one place, one point, one object, one mantra, one idea, one thing. It's about confining the mind within a limited mental area or object. It's like learning to direct a powerful laser beam of awareness instead of having your mental energy scattered like a weak, diffused flashlight beam. Following dharana, if that single-pointed focus is sustained effortlessly and continuously for a period of time, it naturally blossoms into the seventh limb, dhyana, which is true meditation. And it's absolutely crucial to understand this. Meditation, dhyana, cannot be forced. It's not something you do in an active, effortful sense. You cannot make yourself meditate.
So you don't do meditation?
Not in the sense of forcing it. Dhyana is a state you naturally fall into or arises spontaneously if and only if pratyahara, sense withdrawal, and dharana, concentration, have been successfully established and sustained. It's a state of sustained, effortless, uninterrupted flow of awareness towards the object of concentration. The mind becomes completely absorbed in the object, like oil flowing smoothly and continuously from one vessel to another. In dhyana, the distinction between the meditator and the object of meditation begins to blur, though it hasn't completely dissolved yet. There's still a subtle awareness of the process.
Okay, so concentration leads to meditation.
Right.
And what is the ultimate goal then, the eighth limb, samadhi? How does this culmination of the entire eight-limbed path truly manifest as a state of being? What happens in samadhi?
Samadhi, the eighth and final limb, is the state of complete absorption, profound contemplation, or ultimate integration. It's a state of non-dual experience where the mind becomes completely one with the object of meditation. If you're meditating on, say, the form of Ganesha, using a Ganesha mantra as your object in dharana, and that flows into dhyana, in samadhi, the awareness of yourself as the meditator completely dissolves. The awareness of the mantra as a separate tool dissolves. Only the essence, the consciousness of Ganesha, remains. You don't just think about Ganesha, you, in essence, become Ganesha.
Become the object.
Wow. Yes. The meditator, the process of meditation, the medium, like the mantra or the breath, and the object of meditation all merge into one indivisible, singular, blissful consciousness. It's a state where the illusion of duality completely dissolves. There is no I observing an other. There is only oneness, pure being, pure consciousness, pure bliss. Satchidananda again. This is the ultimate goal of Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga union with the divine, or realization of one's true self. Let me try to illustrate this progression from dharana to dhyana to samadhi with that beautiful analogy I mentioned earlier from Indian mythology, the story of Krishna playing his enchanting flute and the gopis, the cowherd maidens who adored him.
Yes, please do. Analogies can really help grasp these subtle states.
Okay, so imagine Krishna is playing his divine flute on the far bank of the Yamuna River. The gopis, scattered in the village or forest, hear the captivating sound of the flute. That sound instantly grabs their attention, pulling them away from all other activities. They have only one intense desire: to be with Krishna. This initial hearing, this captivating pull, this single-pointed focus on the sound and the desire to reach its source represents dharana concentration. The gopi is separate, the flute sound leading to Krishna is the object, and there's an intense desire to merge.
Okay. Focus attention.
Right. Then the gopis realize they must cross the river to reach Krishna. They run to the riverbank and find a boat. The boat becomes the necessary medium, the tool to cross the water. As they are in the boat, crossing the river, their minds are completely absorbed in the journey, intensely focused on reaching Krishna, filled with anticipation and devotion. This state of being absorbed in the process of reaching the goal, using the medium, the boat, represents dhyana meditation. They're immersed in the flow towards the object.
Using the medium to get closer.
Exactly. But here's the crucial step for samadhi. The moment the boat touches the other shore, what do the gopis do? Do they sit admiring the boat? No. They instantly leap out of the boat, abandon it completely without a second thought, rush towards Krishna, embrace him, and become utterly lost, completely one with him in ecstatic union. At this point, the medium, the boat, has served its purpose and completely disappears from their awareness. It's irrelevant now. Then, very quickly, the sense of the individual gopi as a separate self also dissolves into the overwhelming presence and bliss of being with Krishna, the object of her devotion. That complete merging where the medium vanishes, and then the meditator dissolves into the object, leaving only undifferentiated oneness and bliss that is samadhi. The ultimate union where the illusion of separation completely vanishes. Now, to further understand the landscape within which these practices operate, yogic physiology also describes this as having 3 main bodies and layered within them 5 koshas or sheaths. Think of them like layers of an onion enwrapping the soul, moving from the outermost gross layer to the innermost subtle core. The crucial takeaway here isn't necessarily to memorize every single term perfectly right now, but to grasp the concept that our physical existence, our vital energy, our mind, our intellect, and our deeper blissful nature are distinct yet profoundly interconnected layers or dimensions of our being. Understanding these helps us navigate the inner journey, the 3 bodies. Gross body, Sthula Sharira. This is our tangible physical body, made of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. It's the body we perceive with our physical senses, the one that eats, sleeps, and experiences the physical world. It corresponds to the Annamaya Kosha, subtle body, Sushma Sharira. This body is non-physical, composed of energy and mind. It's said to have 3 koshas within it: Pranamaya, energy; Manomaya, mind; and Vijnanamaya, intellect. It's the realm of our vital life force, thoughts, emotions, memories, and intellect. It's our energetic and mental blueprint, and it's this body that is said to travel after death, carrying our karmic imprints. Causal body, Karana Sharira. This is the deepest, most subtle body. It's considered the seed body, containing the root causes or karmic blueprint for our existence. It's primarily associated with the Anandamaya Kosha, bliss sheath. It's here that the individual soul, jiva, is encased, still bound by the deepest layers of ignorance, avidya, even in deep sleep where the gross and subtle bodies are dormant. True liberation, moksha, involves transcending even this causal body to merge fully with the ultimate reality, Atman Brahman. Now let's look slightly closer at those 5 koshas, the sheaths, moving from outermost to innermost. 1. Annamaya Kosha, the food sheath. This is the gross physical body built from and sustained by the food we eat. Anna. Upon death, it disintegrates and merges back into the 5 physical elements. It's the most external layer. 2. Pranamaya Kosha, the vital energy sheath or breath body. This sheath is composed of prana, the vital life force which flows through the nadis. It animates the physical body and is sustained primarily by breath. All our physiological actions and energy levels happen within or are governed by this kosha. Asana and pranayama work strongly on this level. 3. Manomaya kosha, the mind sheath. This is the layer of the lower or processing mind, where our thoughts, emotions, feelings, doubts, and sensory perceptions happen. Manas. It receives input from the senses and reacts. Much of our daily mental activity and emotional life occurs here.
This sounds like where most of us live most of the time.
Very often, yes. Deeply identified with our thoughts and feelings. Then, subtler still. 4. Vijnanamaya kosha, the intellect sheath or wisdom body. This is the layer of higher intellect, buddhi, discernment, intuition, wisdom, vijnana, and the sense of I-ness or ego. Ahamkara. It's the faculty that analyzes, discriminates, makes decisions, and ideally guides the Manomaya kosha. A crucial point here. A lack of synergy or harmony between Pranamaya kosha, our actions and energy, and Manomaya kosha, our thoughts and desires, often due to a weak or clouded Vijnanamaya kosha, lack of wisdom discernment, leads directly to inner chaos, confusion, and people feeling disoriented or pulled in multiple directions. When Vijnanamaya is clear and strong, it provides the wisdom to guide thoughts, Manomaya, into constructive action, Pranamaya. 5. Anandamaya kosha, the bliss sheath. This is the innermost and most subtle sheath corresponding to the causal body. It's experienced most clearly in deep, dreamless sleep where the mind and ego are temporarily dormant, leaving a state of undifferentiated peace or bliss. In the awakened state, living consciously from this level means residing in pragya, the state of pure awareness, knowing oneself as the soul, distinct from the body and mind, experiencing inherent joy and peace regardless of external circumstances. It's the closest layer to the true self, Atman. And just to add one more layer of detail to our energetic anatomy, within the pranamaya kosha, the vital energy, prana, is further subdivided into 5 primary types or functions, often called the 5 vayus, winds or vital airs. These govern different physiological and energetic processes throughout the body. Pranavayu. This is the primary upward moving energy, centered mainly in the chest and head region. It governs inhalation, respiration, and the intake of energy into the system. Apanavayu. This is a downward moving energy, centered in the lower abdomen. It governs elimination, excretion, urination, menstruation, childbirth, and the grounding of energy. Samanavayu. This energy moves from the periphery towards the center, located mainly in the navel region, Manipura chakra area. It governs digestion, assimilation, and metabolic processes, balancing prana and apana.
Like the body's furnace or processing center.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then, Udana Vayu. This is the upward moving energy centered in the throat and head, Vishuddhi and Ajna areas. It governs speech, self-expression, coughing, swallowing, and importantly, the upward movement of energy in spiritual practices like Kundalini Awakening. It's also said to be the force that directs the subtle body out of the physical body at death, Vyana Vayu. This energy pervades the entire body, moving from the center outwards. It governs circulation, nerve impulses, coordination of movements, and acts like a reserve force, integrating and balancing all the other vayus. It functions like an emergency breath or overall distribution system. Understanding these vayus helps yogis refine their pranayama and energy control practices. Vyana Vayu. #TechTech5. Practical wisdom and deeper connections.
Wow, that is an incredibly comprehensive and detailed map of our inner being. From the 8 limbs of yoga to the 3 bodies, 5 koshas, 5 pranas. It really shows the profound depth and sophistication of yogic science. Thank you. Now, perhaps we could pivot slightly towards some practical wisdom and maybe some deeper connections that our listeners can potentially apply or reflect on in their daily lives stemming from this understanding. For instance, you mentioned the power of Om chanting earlier as a technique for aura purification. Could you perhaps elaborate a bit more on the optimal way to chant Om for maximum benefit? Is there a specific technique beyond just saying the sound?
Yes, certainly. It's truly remarkable to consider that the seemingly simple act of chanting Om is actually a sophisticated spiritual practice, often referred to as Omkara chanting or Pranava Japa. It's far more than just uttering a syllable. The technique involves, ideally, finding a comfortable seated posture. As you begin the sound, you start with the A sound, pronounced like Ah in father, originating deep from the navel region or abdomen. This A sound gradually transforms into the U sound, like oo in flute or U in put, as the vibration rises through the chest and throat area. Finally, the sound culminates in the resonant M sound, like with the lips gently sealed, allowing the vibration to resonate strongly in the head, particularly felt in the Ajna chakra region and even the crown.
AUM, a journey through the body.
It's exactly a conscious journey of sound and vibration ascending through the major energy centers. And as we touched upon, chanting Om while consciously focusing your awareness on different chakras can subtly alter the resonance and produce slightly different sonic qualities, tuning into the energy of that specific center. For example, focusing on Muladhara might yield a deeper, earthier Focusing on Anahata might bring out a more open, resonant And focusing on Ajna might lead to a very subtle, internalized, almost silent vibration felt within the head. The three distinct sounds within Om, A, U, M are profoundly symbolic. They represent numerous trinities fundamental to existence. The three states of consciousness: waking A, dreaming U, deep sleep M, the three bodies; gross A, subtle U, causal M, the three gunas; Rajas A, activity; Sattva U, harmony, tamas, M, inertia; the three aspects of time: past A, present U, future M; the three aspects of the divine in Hinduism: Brahma, creator A; Vishnu, preserver U; Shiva, dissolver M. For optimal effect, particularly for balancing these aspects within yourself, it's generally recommended that all three sounds, the initial A, the transitional U, and the final humming M, should ideally be given roughly equal duration and emphasis. This practice helps to harmonize and integrate these various aspects of your being, not just on a superficial level, but resonating profoundly within your energetic structure and conscious awareness. The silence after the is also considered extremely important, a space of pure potentiality.
Fascinating. Thank you for that detail. Now, you also mentioned something earlier about sleep that sounded, well, almost revolutionary for something so seemingly simple. The Matsakirdasan, or flapping fish pose, you said it could potentially have sleep time needed and offer significant health benefits. That sounds incredible. Could you tell us more about this ideal sleeping position? How exactly does one do it? And what are the profound, maybe even scientifically plausible benefits? Are there any common challenges or considerations for someone wanting to try this?
Yes, this is a piece of practical yogic wisdom that, if adopted consistently, can genuinely revolutionize the quality of your sleep and positively impact your overall health and energy levels. It stems from ancient yogic observations about optimizing the body's natural functions during rest. It's called Matsakirdasan, which translates to the flapping fish pose, though you're lying still in it. The ideal way to practice this for sleep is to lie on your left side. This is key. Traditionally, it's recommended to do this without a pillow, allowing the neck to align naturally with the spine, though some may need a very thin one initially for comfort. Your left leg should be kept relatively straight and extended down. Your right leg, however, is folded up towards your chest, so that your right knee is bent, and ideally, the toes of your right foot are gently placed just behind your left knee. Your left arm can be extended straight out under your head or bent comfortably. Your right arm rests gently alongside your body or perhaps on your right thigh.
Left side, left leg straight, right leg bent with toes behind left knee. Okay, I'm visualizing it.
Now, the profound benefits attributed to consistently sleeping in this specific posture are quite remarkable, and some have interesting physiological correlations. Rest efficiency. Firstly, as you noted, it's traditionally believed that sleeping in this posture allows the body and mind to achieve deeper rest more efficiently. Some texts suggest you can potentially gain the restorative benefits equivalent to 8 hours of conventional sleep in just 4 hours, effectively doubling the efficiency of your rest cycle. While that might sound extreme, it points to a significantly enhanced quality of rest.
Having sleep time, that alone is huge if true.
It's a profound claim, suggesting deep restoration, optimized breathing, and oxygenation. Secondly, consider our lung anatomy. Our right lung is typically about 30% larger than our left lung, mainly because the left lung needs to make space for the heart. When you sleep on your left side, gravity naturally encourages breathing to become dominant through your right nostril, Kundalini. This directs more air efficiently into your larger right lung, potentially increasing oxygen intake by up to 30% compared to other positions. More oxygen means better cellular repair, brain function, and overall rejuvenation during sleep. Heart health. Sleeping on the left side takes pressure off the heart. It doesn't have to work against gravity as much, nor does it bear the weight of other organs pressing down on it, allowing it to rest more fully. Digestive aid. This position facilitates the natural downward flow through the digestive tract. The stomach and pancreas hang naturally, allowing secretions to flow easily. It's also said to help gas merge more efficiently with food during digestion, potentially preventing issues like bloating, indigestion, or nighttime acidity. Overall relaxation. The posture encourages the gross body to remain relaxed yet stable, allowing the mind and senses to settle into a state of profound peace more easily. Practical benefits. Anecdotally and traditionally, it's also recommended as a natural remedy for issues like frequent nighttime urination, particularly in older adults, and it's often suggested for children who experience bedwetting. Consistently positioning them on their left side in this pose can sometimes prevent it entirely by optimizing bladder function and nervous system relaxation.
Wow, the range of benefits is quite extensive, from oxygen to digestion to even bedwetting.
Indeed. If we connect this back to the bigger picture, it beautifully illustrates how closely traditional yoga and ancient wisdom observed and understood the intricate relationship between posture, breath, energy flow, and physiological function, offering practical advice for optimizing every aspect of our lives, even something as seemingly passive as sleep.
Any challenges? Is it hard to get used to?
The main challenges are simply habit and comfort initially. Sleeping without a pillow might feel strange or uncomfortable at first for many people used to thick pillows. The leg position might also feel slightly awkward initially. Like any new habit, it just requires a bit of consistent effort and patience to allow the body to adapt and recognize the benefits. Starting for short periods or using a very thin pillow might help the transition.
That's incredibly valuable practical advice. Thank you. Finally, one last area of connection, numbers. It seems numbers like 3, 9, and especially 108 pop up everywhere in spirituality across different traditions. We see 108 beads on a mala, 9 planets in Vedic astrology, 3 gunas. What's the deep significance of these recurring numbers? Are they purely symbolic, or is there perhaps an underlying energetic or mathematical reason behind their prevalence?
Numbers indeed carry deep symbolic and often energetic or cosmological significance in many spiritual traditions. They're seen as more than just quantities. They represent underlying principles, structures, and cosmic harmonies. They are not arbitrary. The number 108 is particularly ubiquitous and significant, especially in Dharmic traditions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Why 108? There are many explanations offered, some astronomical, some anatomical, some purely mystical. One prominent understanding, related to our discussion of subtle anatomy, connected to the energy body. My understanding, based on certain teachings, is that 108 relates to the number of primary nadis, energy channels, converging at the Heart Chakra, Anahata, or sometimes to 108 marmas, vital energetic points on the body, similar to acupressure points. These 108 points are considered crucial intersections of consciousness and physiology. Therefore, chanting a mantra 108 times, using the 108 beads of a japa mala, is believed to consciously touch upon, activate, and purify these crucial energetic points or channels throughout your entire being, creating a full circuit of spiritual energy and intention. It ensures completeness in the practice. Other explanations link 108 to astronomical ratios involving the sun, moon, and earth, suggesting a cosmic resonance. The number 9 is also highly revered, often considered the complete number or the number of Brahma, the creator, in some Hindu contexts. Why? Mathematically, it's the highest single digit, and it possesses that unique, almost mystical property you alluded to. No matter what whole number you multiply 9 by, the sum of the digits of the resulting product, when reduced to a single digit, always comes back to 9. Example, 9 by 7 equals 63, 6 plus 3, 9, 9 by 123 equals 1107, 1 plus 1 plus 0 plus 7, 9.
It always resolves back to itself.
Exactly. This inherent mathematical property of completeness and cyclical return is seen as reflecting the all-encompassing, unchanging nature of the ultimate reality or the divine. It signifies wholeness, culmination, and cosmic integrity. Its presence often indicates a sense of fullness or completion in spiritual contexts. And finally, the number 3. Its prevalence is perhaps the easiest to understand, as it represents fundamental trinities and the principle of synthesis arising from duality, which are core concepts in understanding creation and existence. We see it everywhere. The 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, the fundamental qualities governing nature. The 3 bodies, gross, subtle, causal, the layers of our existence. The 3 states of consciousness, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, or the 3 pavas, pashu, vida, divya. The 3 aspects of time, past, present, future. The 3 letter sounds of Om, A-U-M, representing creation, preservation, and dissolution. Numerous trinities and divine representations, Yuji, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. The number 3 often symbolizes balance, harmony, creation resulting from the interplay of opposing forces, and the fundamental triadic nature of manifest reality. So these numbers are far from arbitrary. They are deeply embedded codes, you might say, reflecting the very structure of the cosmos and our inner experience, acting as keys or reminders of deeper underlying universal principles and realities. Hashtag tag outro.
We've journeyed through an incredibly rich, detailed, and frankly profound landscape today. We've delved into the transformative potential of Kundalini, meticulously mapped out the energetic blueprint of nadis and chakras, gained clarity on the protective and revealing nature of the aura, and explored the systematic, holistic path of Patanjali's 8-limbed Ashtanga yoga. We even touched upon some wonderfully practical wisdom for daily life, from the precise science behind Om chanting to a potentially revolutionary way to optimize sleep. It's truly been a deep dive into the often hidden mystical dimensions of human potential. So, what does all this complex information really mean for you listening right now? Well, I think it means a profound opportunity. An opportunity to look at your own energy, your own mind, your own life through a completely new and perhaps much deeper lens. It's hopefully provided a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about these deeper dimensions of yourself and existence, helping you move beyond maybe superficial or confusing popular ideas towards profound, potentially actionable truths.
And perhaps the key insight here, if I may add, is understanding the sheer power that comes with accurate knowledge and clear understanding. So much of these ancient, powerful teachings have unfortunately become distorted, diluted, or misinterpreted over time. But when they are understood correctly, in their depth and context, they have an incredible capacity to remove confusion, dispel fear based on ignorance, and offer immense practical benefits for living a more balanced, peaceful, healthy, and purposeful life. Applying this knowledge, even starting with small, simple steps, is truly key to beginning to transform your experience and unlock more of your inherent potential.
Wonderfully put, indeed. And as we conclude this particular deep dive, perhaps here's a final thought for you to ponder. Consider this. If, as the sages suggest, the entire universe, the macrocosm, can potentially be visualized, understood, and experienced within your own body and consciousness, the microcosm. And if, at the deepest level, the level of the soul or pure awareness, we are all ultimately interconnected, fundamentally one, then what does that truly imply about the real boundaries, or perhaps the boundlessness of your own potential? And what does it say about your intrinsic connection to everything and everyone around you? Given all we've explored today, what aspect of your own vast inner universe might you choose to explore next? Perhaps using some of these ancient keys to unlock a deeper understanding of yourself. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible deep dive today. We sincerely hope this exploration has not only informed you, but also ignited your curiosity and offered you some profound new insights to carry forward. Until next time, keep exploring.
Struggling with health, financial worries, wealth, relationships, or career? Don't let these challenges hold you back. Harness the ancient power of authentic Rudraksha, planetary remedies, and Vedic astrology to restore balance and attract success. But act fast. These sacred remedies are in limited stock. Visit callmantra.com today to transform your life.
If this resonated with you, join our spiritual journey. Your support keeps us growing. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So like, comment, share with friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.